Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. We're ready to start playing Maximum Apocalypse, and we've got ourselves quite the job set out for us. I'm really excited for this playthrough, and I hope you guys are as well. It sounded like through the solo setup and rules overview, you guys are really excited to see what was going to happen. We are going to have our firefighter and hunter starting at the shopping mall. We're going to read a little bit about what's going on, and we obviously need to get to the van for some reason, so we're going to go ahead and read the card now for the tutorial. So just a reminder, guys, we are playing on extremely easy difficulty. So if you do find that this tutorial is running smooth as butter, or I mean, if it doesn't, that's really embarrassing for me, but it should run as smooth as butter. And if it doesn't, well, that says something about my skill. But essentially, this one's going to be really easy. So it should be kind of like in the bag from the get-go because it's a tutorial. Once we play through this, we get a feeling for the game, then we may, if time is on our side, be able to play through a second round with a different situation or different scenario with a different level of difficulty that can help you guys see the differences, because I don't want you to think that the extremely easy difficulty level is the norm for this game, because it's probably, well, it isn't. Okay, so we've got a little bit of text here we can read for the story, so let's do that now. The sirens were the only warning. Let's get this thing focused here. The sirens were the only warning we had before everything went to hell. We were lucky enough to be close to a shopping mall, and barricaded ourselves in. But now our food is gone and help isn't coming. We have to figure out what happened out there. Our objective is to find 4 fuel cans and make your way to the van. You can see in the distance from the rooftop, I'm assuming of the shopping mall, when everyone has successfully made it to the van and you have enough gas, you can hightail it out of there. So basically, the story is saying we're sitting on top of the mall roof and we are looking out and seeing the van far in the distance, knowing full well we need to get there as fast as possible. We are in an apocalypse that involves zombies, so this is straight out of every movie you've probably ever seen. But basically, we are stuck in a mall. We need to get out of it and risk ourselves out in the wild to get to the van. But before we get to the van, we need to make sure we are carrying or have equipped or have gotten 4 fuel tanks to this van, fueled up, ready to go, so we can get out of there. A couple things I want to mention before we start the playthrough. First off, when we go ahead and start rolling for enemies to show up on the board or monsters, right now the van is a 6 in terms of rolling, so remember that, and the 8 for the shopping mall. So we happen to get those. We're going to be dropping monsters on there right away. If they happen to land on a tile where a hero is currently present, they get revealed right away based on whoever's turn it is. If it's a tile that the hero is not on, it just sits there in shadows with a nice disturbing picture to remind you that you have a friend coming to visit you later on in the game. Of course, the more tiles that you resolve or flip up, face up, you're bringing more of these numbers into the picture, which inherently will bring more trauma to your life. So essentially we have, from the solo setup, we have the zombie walker on the hunter, and we have zombie walker on the fireman. So she has got her work cut out for her, and he also does. But there was something else that came out with this zombie walker, and it said draw another monster card. I didn't want to cover this in the solo setup because it wasn't part of the solo setup. It's more part of the dynamic of the game when you start playing it. So now that we're playing it, we will flip the new monster card over to find out what extra monster the fireman's going to be dealing with. Okay, another zombie walker. Not surprising, really. We are in a shopping mall full of them, so I guess that makes thematic sense. So we're going to be playing this a little bit differently here in terms of how we're going to handle the cards. I wouldn't say it's differently, but I'm going to explain to you as we go. We have essentially a limit on our hand, our combined hand, because remember our deck is a combination of both characters, hunter and fireman, in our personal decks. This limit of our hand cannot exceed 20. However, we can also have stuff picked up scavenge-wise that's kind of specific to each character based on what they pick up, and the only way to get those items back and forth is to use a free action, which you can see right here says trade scavenge cards with another player, so you have to get to the same spot, and of course, in order to do that. So what we're going to go ahead with now is we're going to start it off. We'll probably start with the hunter. You're going to wonder why there's 2 dice now, because there wasn't 2 dice in the setup. This one's for hunger level. This one's going to denote how many actions on the current turn the person's gone through. I'm going to tick this up every time I do an action so you guys can kind of keep track of what's going on and stuff like that. I'll try my best to keep that up to date as well as we go through. The first thing we're going to do right off the bat, we've got our 2 individuals sitting in a shopping mall. We have to spawn 4 monsters. So we're going to roll right away with 2d6s to see whether or not any more fun comes our hunter's way. If we happen to land an 8 or a 6, we've got trouble. And we got a 4, so we're safe. So we only will have to deal with the 1 zombie walker. So we're starting off right away with the hunter. And her innate ability doesn't actually help me in terms of combat. I really want to get rid of this guy, and he has a health of 4. So let's get some... well, let's actually, sorry, before we start our actions, we draw a card. And this is something that I sometimes forget. But after you spawn your monsters, or attempt to, and I didn't, which is awesome for us, then you draw a card. As the turn reference mentions, you draw a card from your deck. So we're going to go ahead and pull a deck card off, and we got a trusty axe. So these cards are going to go into the tray, which is kind of like for everyone. So essentially at this point now we have a really cool trusty axe weapon, which I'm really tempted to put on one of my characters. Now, I'm thinking about my fireman's turn next. He's got to deal with 2 zombie walkers at 4 health each. I think a trusty axe that does 4 damage to a target is going to be really helpful for him. So I think I might give the hunter the machete. So her first action is going to be to equip. She puts this in her play area next to a card. It costs 1 of her inventory limit of 4. And now she's got a machete available. So now I'm going to use that machete's action to deal 3 damage to this particular target. That action cost me my second action. 3 damage is going to hit that zombie walker, but it's not enough to kill it because it needs 4 damage total. So we're going to have to hit it again. I don't think I have any instant things that can do any other damage. And just so you guys know, if I play any of those cards, it costs an action. So I might as well just play, or go and pay another action to actually just hack him again and kill him off the board. So now he's been discarded, and we are free and clear. So we no longer have a monster in front of us. So at this point, we could help, you know, the fireman, but I think he's got things under control because he can equip his trusty axe, and he should be able to hack through them. So I'm not going to really give him any help right now. And instead, I'm going to focus more on scavenging. So the first thing I'll notice here is that it said the shopping mall tile on reveal, we got a free scavenge. So we can actually go ahead and get 1 free scavenge because we revealed that tile. So I'm going to go ahead and get that free scavenge right off the top. And because it's a blue up in the top left-hand corner, we're going to take that blue scavenge card and see what we get. We got some binoculars. This is, if we equip it, which will cost another action, and then use another action, we can reveal a tile without triggering its effects. So we can kind of see something somewhere else on the map, which is really cool. What I'm going to do with these scavenge cards, whenever somebody picks it up, I'm going to put it underneath their character card. They do not have those equipped. So only the ones that are equipped are the ones to the right or left, but anything underneath, they just have on them that essentially a fireman can't just use the binoculars or equip it. He'd have to trade, or he'd have to do essentially a free action, which you can only do once per turn anyway. But for right now, we're happy with the hunter. The hunter makes sense to have the binoculars. I think that works. So that's 4 full actions for her. She is now done. With her being done, we're going to increase her hunger to 2. She's getting a little bit more hungry. Remember, if we get to 6, that's bad news for all of us. And we are going to end our turn by taking damage. We have no enemies here that will give us any types of damage, so we're okay there. So next up, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the fireman's turn. So it is now the fireman's turn, and he's going to go ahead and roll to spawn monsters. We're going to grab 2 d6s. We're going to roll them up. And we got a 10, and we don't have any 10s on the board, so that's great so far. But he does have a lot of zombie walkers in front of him. We do get to draw a card to start our turn, so we'll do that. Resourceful. Select any gear from a discard pile and put it directly into play. Pretty cool. Any gear from a discard pile and put it directly. That's really good, actually, but we don't have any in the discard pile yet, so we'll put it up here. I am going to equip my axe, so this is going to cost me an action. So that's my first action, was putting my axe on me. I'm going to use the second action to take a nice thwack through the head of one of these zombie walkers, killing it right away. And then I'm going to use another action to kill off the other zombie walker in front of me. I only have 1 left. So what do I want to do? I could scavenge. I could also leave the area and go somewhere else, but I think I'm going to scavenge because I think I got something special the hunter can do on her next turn. So let's scavenge. It's a blue, so we're going to go and see if we can find something useful. Hey, we got some fuel. That's what we're looking for. We need 4 of these. Now, it does say in the special text down here, equip immediately as a free action or discard. So I can equip this right away, and luckily because I am still under my limit of 4 inventory, I have 3 now. I'm golden. Remember, if you happen to pick up a fuel card and you have 4 items worth of inventory maxed out, you can discard a card in order to put this card in. But you can see it says you got to equip it right away or you discard it. So you got to make room for it or you just get rid of it. It's kind of tough that way. It's probably going to put you into sticky situations when you're surrounded by lots of enemies as to whether you should be picking that can up or dropping it. But regardless, that's going to end off his turn. So his turn, we'll set this back to 1 for his action die. His hunger die, sorry, is going to go up to level 2. And what else are we going to do here? We're going to take damage. He doesn't take any damage, there's no enemies. And we're done. So now we're going to move back to the hunter. And the hunter's got to roll 2 dice to see if anybody else comes out to play. 7, and nope, we're safe. It landed right in between the 8 and the 6, so we're okay there. What are we going to do here? So the first thing that she has is really cool. Is one of her abilities. Says flip 2 adjacent map tiles without even triggering their effects. I'm going to use that. I want her to scout. I want to kind of know, is there something worthwhile on either one of these tiles, and if one's bad, then we avoid it. This one's a gas station, so she knows there's a gas station nearby, and it says reveal free scavenge, but it does say on her card down here that you flip 2 adjacent map tiles without triggering their effects. So in other words, you don't get the free scavenge. You'll see the reason why you don't in a second, because there are tiles that can potentially be bad, and really that's by using that particular ability on her for recon, it's kind of a balancing act of trying to avoid nasty tiles, but you also lose out on some of the good tiles essentially. So we'll take a look at this. Now the reason I'm looking at this one right here and this one right here is because adjacency is always orthogonal. It's never diagonal. The forest here says stop. If you move again this turn, draw a monster. Wow, okay. So basically it's just saying you can't. So again, but that would be in the case that I had used a move action to get in here. It would have told me to stay in the forest essentially. But other than that, what's happening is I get to ignore this. I never moved. I just used my recon ability, and it says completely ignore the triggering effects. So at this point, I've used 1 action. Well, where do I want to go here? Basically, if I go in the forest, I have to go in the forest and sit there, unless I want a monster to show up. I can go to the gas station. So that kind of makes the most sense. So I think I'm going to head to the gas station with her for her second action. So I'm going to move in there. So we'll flip this one from 1. Oops, it was on 1. Now to 2. We might as well scavenge while we're in there. And I know it says free scavenge, but remember, we don't get to take advantage of that because we used her recon ability. So red is going to be the scavenge deck. Let's see what she finds. Food, that's never bad. Reduce hunger by 2. So that's going to come in really handy really soon. So we'll put this food on her. She's doing all right now. So that was 1 scavenge. So let me think about this. I was there, I used an action to check that out. I then moved and then I scavenged. So yes, that's going to be 3rd action used. Now I have 1 more remaining. Do I risk it? Do I go to the next tile? Yeah, let's do it. So let's check out whatever's here. I don't know what it's going to be. This one, ugh. Oh nice, I get a free scavenge from it. Perfect. So I found a farm. So she's now at the farm. And the only reason I get this free scavenge, because I just used an action to get there, because it's free. And it's a green one this time. So we're going to go ahead and grab from the green deck and see what we get. More food. Yes, reduce hunger by 3. Man, she's doing good in terms of the food situation, so she's not going to be hurting. And that's going to be the end of her turn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my hunger level to 3. I'll reduce this back to 1 for her action die. And if we take any damage, we don't have any zombies, so that's good. And we are now done. We go over to the Fireman now. The Fireman has to roll his 2d6s. He is at the shopping mall, but you can see our wonderful hunter has opened up a whole number of other numbers that can potentially have monsters on them. We got an 8. Oh no, that's exactly where he is. So we have a monster spawn right where the Fireman is. And this is how this works. If a monster spawns where a character currently is, then he immediately basically has that monster on him right away. Otherwise, it comes in as a token like this into another adjacent space, or to another space, I should say, not adjacent space. So this one is going to appear right on him. It is a zombie dog. Oh, that's unfortunate. So our Fireman's probably going to use his trusty axe to deal 4 damage. He hits it for 4, which is a solid smack. So that's 4 decent damage against him. And then he needs to do it 1 more time to clear the dog away. And now the dog has been killed off. Took him 2 of his 4 actions though, so that really slowed down his traction. I still want to find some more fuel, so let's go ahead and scavenge one more time, and then maybe what we'll do is we'll head into the forest because we can't move anymore after that. So we're going to scavenge from the blue deck because that's what's at the shopping mall. Hey, he got binoculars too. That's cool. So he got binoculars as well. And oops, I forgot to draw a card for him at the beginning of the turn. I'm a horrible person. Holy, he got a shotgun. Okay, deal 3 damage to one target and 1 damage to all targets in front of you. Wow. Okay, well that ended up in here. So that was a card that can be picked up by anybody. That was this step right here, and I forgot to do that for the Fireman. So I just did that right now. Sorry for the blurriness there. So what we're going to do now is, let me think about that. That really worked out well. So that was my third action. So I'm rolling the dice over to 3. And my last action will be to move the Fireman into the forest. And as it says there, stop. If you move again this turn, draw a monster. Well, I'm not planning to, so I'm going to stay right there. My hunger level is going to go up to 3. And from here, I take any damage if there's any monsters. There are none, so I am safe. And that's going to be the end of that turn. Now we do a spawning of monsters as we start the hunter's turn. So let's do a roll. 8. Oh man. So there is going to be one coming back at the shop. So the shopping mall still has enemies pouring out behind us. So there's another monster showing up there, but at least not anywhere where anyone is right now. Okay, so we know her hunger level's at 3. What can we do about the food situation? Can we eat some of this stuff? Reduce hunger by 2. Yeah, that could be good. We reduce it by 2. Let's do that. So we're going to use this as the first action, discarding this card, which reduces her hunger by 2. So now she's down to 1. We'll keep the other one for later. So she's going to be in good shape. She's going to... That was the first action. She could scavenge while she's at the farm because she's safe at the moment, and it's a green, so I'll do that. Flashlight. Oh, and again, I forgot to draw a card for her at the beginning of her turn. Shoot. Let's do that. Oh, a wildland jacket. Once on your turn, you may take an additional action by increasing your hunger. Interesting. Okay, well that one's going to go into our pool here. So it's a player card. Very cool. That's a really interesting one. All right, so sorry. We were in here and we played the food for 1 action in order to drop our hunger down to level 1, and then I just scavenged and got a flashlight, so that was my second action. And what does this thing do? Flashlight. Whenever you take the scavenge action, draw 2 cards. Oh man, I gotta equip that. I'm gonna equip that right away. So I'm gonna actually spend my third action to put the flashlight on, because this is gonna let me do a passive ability, which I think is really cool. This is going to allow me to, when I do my... So I might as well scavenge again as my last action, because it'll allow me, when I do it, whenever you take a scavenge action, draw 2 cards, keep 1 and put the other at the bottom. That's cool. So at the farm, let's keep looking. I get to get 2 cards this time, and hope one of them's fuel. Come on, fuel. Ah, oh, see, that's where it came in handy, because I got an empty-handed card and a food card. Sorry about the blurriness there, guys. It's... kind of going in and out on me here. So empty-handed and food. There we go. Empty-handed and food cards. Reduce hunger by 1. Immediately discard this card when drawn. So obviously I'm definitely going to discard the empty-handed card and keep the food one, because that just makes sense. And we'll tuck that underneath the player card here. There we go. Her turn is done. Her hunger level is going to go up to 2. And we take damage if we have to, which we don't, and we're okay. Now we're going to move over to the Fireman. The Fireman's going to try to spawn monsters. He's going to roll 2 dice. He got 8. Oh my goodness, that's another one at the mall. There's 2 of them at the mall now. Yikes. Okay. So, what happens now? Let's do a... All right, so we draw a card. I should say we don't want to forget that. Ooh, a bow. Deal 2 damage to a target. Okay, that's good to have. So we're getting a lot of really useful things. I really like this woodland jacket, though. What does this do again? Once per your turn, you may take an additional action by increasing your hunger. Interesting. I don't know if that's exactly what I want to use right now. I'll hold on to it. I don't think I want to use it right now. We have a lot of instant action cards for when really nasty guys show up. But I think we're okay right now. So what I want to do, I want to keep progressing here. I can't scavenge in this location, of course, in the forest. But I can move out of here. So I'm going to move out of here now. and head to here. So this is going to be my first move action, or first action essentially, is to move here. Ooh, I found a hospital. Cool. Restore 1 health when I enter, or restore 2 health when I end. Well, guess what? I don't have any damage, so I'm okay there. And that's what happens when you're playing extremely easy. So I moved into the hospital area, so that's nice. Now we have a 3 as another option that could happen for spawning. And there's red there. So that took 1 action to move there. I'm going to scavenge for my second action, which is a red card. I found medical supplies. How thematic. Medical supplies at the hospital. Makes perfect sense. Restore 3 health. All right, well, I'll keep that. It's pretty cool. I could leave, go to the next place, or I could scavenge again. Tough call. What do? I think I should scavenge one more time. Yeah, let's scavenge one more time. Got no monsters there, so... Ugh, empty-handed. Worst. Okay, well, that didn't work out. So that's essentially... let me just recount that. So I was here, I went 1 to here, I scavenged and I scavenged. I guess I have 1 more. Did I miscount that? I was in the forest, picked up my player card, which is my free draw card. I moved a space, and then I scavenged twice. So I technically have 1 more action left. So I guess I was capping myself there. I could go over here. This is where it gets dicey. I'm opening up so many different numbers everywhere every time I leave, which is sketchy. But let's go here. Let's head to here. Ah, another farm. Free scavenge. Perfectly. So my last action is to move to the farm. I get a free green scavenge when I end. And I got some food. Reduce hunger by 1. Okay, cool. So something I'm going to probably... Actually, that's really good for him because he's getting up there. So his all of his actions have been used up. We're setting that to 1. His hunger level's at 4, which is getting a little high. So he's going to need to eat some of that food. Which is really good timing for him that he got that. And we are going to take damage if we have to, which we don't. We don't have any enemies. So we're going to go for maybe 1 more turn if we can make it, or maybe 2. We'll see. So we're back over here with her. Let's make sure she's reset there. Let's go ahead and start her turn. So we're going to grab 2d6s. She currently is at the farm. Let's see what this roll lets us do. Ooh, 6. We don't have it. Oh, no, the van. Oh, no, there's a monster waiting for us at the van now. That's pleasant. Okay, so let's start off our turn here. We got to try to find some more gas. We only have 1 fuel card so far. We need more. Let's do a scavenge here because she's got the flashlight. Let's just keep hoping that we can find what we need. So I get to get 2 cards because of my flashlight. Give me fuel. Please. Yes. All right, I'm going to trash the spare parts. We got fuel, and I'm going to put it right up here. So now we have 1, 2, 3. She still has room. I'm going to search 1 more time because that was 1 action. I'll do another action to do the exact same thing. She's... more fuel. Awesome. I'll turf the food, even though I kind of want that. But I'm keeping this other fuel. So now we have 2 fuel on her and 1 fuel on him. If he can find 1 fuel, we're golden. And now she's got 2 more actions. We should probably start heading closer towards this. So if that's the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably move to the forest, I think. Yeah, let's move to the forest. And then because I'm not moving again after that, would make sense. That's 3. And then what can I do for my 4th action? Because I don't want to move out of the forest, remember, because a monster will spawn. So let's do a food thing here. I think I had 1 food that would allow me to reduce my hunger by 1. So let's play this. It's going to allow me to reduce my hunger by 1. So it's going to tip my hunger level back down to 1. I'm going to end my turn, which essentially bumps it back up to 2 anyway. Resets back to 1. I have no enemies in front of me, so I'm good to go. All right, so that's good. And then let's move over to the Fireman to end off the turn. Oh, shoot, I forgot to pull a card for her, didn't I? I didn't pull a card for her. So at the beginning of her turn, she should have pulled a card, and I didn't do it. Oh, backpack. Gives me +1. Oh, that would have been handy. Well, that'll go over here for now. Okay, and then we're starting the Fireman's turn. I'm sorry about that, guys. Every once in a while, I forget to draw that card. So right now, we're starting the Fireman's turn. Let's draw that card so we don't forget. Camouflage, all right, that's pretty cool. Discard a monster, cannot be used on bosses in front of you and replace it with a monster token. Cool, I like that. Interesting, that's really good. All right, so we have to spawn monsters for our wonderful Fireman. 7. Oh man, we're so lucky. We keep hitting 7s and nothing in here is a 7, so that's great. He's still got, well, he's getting hungry. So let's use his food here. What does his food do? Reduce by 1. So we'll use this. Just going to reduce his hunger level down to 3. That took 1 action. So that's spent. Second action is going to be to scavenge the farm, which is green. We're running out of green cards. Ammunition, not useful. And he might as well scavenge one more time. And food again. Well, he got some food, and this one was for 1. So now what he's going to do is he's going to... should I eat it? I guess I should. Yeah, let's use the last action to actually consume the food. He goes down by 1 again, so he's down to 2. So he's not as bad off as he was before for food. Now his turn ends. He goes back up to 3, and he is done. We have no enemies in front of us. So that's where we're going to stop, I think. This is where we're going to end our turn. Now, what you're noticing a lot of, at least what I'm noticing a lot of, is we're using a lot of the cards in front of us here quite a bit, but we're not really utilizing these ones yet. And what I'm noticing, or from what I understand, guys, just so that you understand too, the tutorial, like I said, is really extremely easy. So I think what's happening is we're not running into a crazy amount of really tough enemies, and because the tutorial setup is very, very simplistic, and it's also set on easy difficulty, so it really isn't tough. So because of that, and because there's not that many tiles involved and stuff like that, it doesn't take that long to find that many fuel canisters. We're almost already there. We just have to get to the van and get out of here. So again, just remember, it might seem like we're not using cards over here, but I can tell you they're going to come in so much. They're going to come in so handy when we move past the tutorial phase. I think they're going to start to be almost necessary to survive some of the crazy monsters that are going to pop up when we start getting groups of them just hoarding up in a certain area. Waiting for us. So hope you guys are enjoying the playthrough so far. I really enjoyed it. It's quite a bit of fun. I did, like I mentioned before, forget to draw a card a couple times, but I think we got more than enough. I shouldn't say a couple times. I think I missed it once, but I got more than enough cards here on this deck now. Our limit is 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're still fine. And we also have 3 on him and 2 on her. So we're doing pretty good, and we'll see how things pan out. We're really just looking to grab 1 more fuel canister, and currently she has no room to do so, and he has 1 spot left. He can grab another fuel canister, and then it's just a matter of getting us over there, loading up the fuel, and getting out of here. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If you are, give me a like if you want to see more of Maximum Apocalypse, even past the tutorial as well. Let me know in the comments below. I'd really be interested to know whether you guys would want to see another playthrough of this game. We still have probably 1 more part, maybe 2 to finish this one off, but then I'd be interested to know whether you guys would like to see another one maybe at a higher difficulty level. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and as always, keep on rolling solo.